I'll have another go. Hello and good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jack Newman and welcome to Nétive VMS. I'm delighted to be able to host you all today during this event in which we celebrate the birthday of our business here in the UK. And today we have a full program. This morning I had a chat with Patrick Thiessen, our CEO. I spoke with Chris Nedermeyer around the mid-market challenges which can be solved by multi-tenancy. And if you'd like to catch up on either of those sessions, you can do so through our website. Later today, we have an executive roundtable at 3 p.m. where we will broadcast the views and opinions from leaders within our market. And we will wrap up with a pub quiz and a drink at 4:30 p.m. If you want to comment or ask any questions during the sessions today, you can do so by clicking on the YouTube button at the bottom right of your screen, or you can send me an email directly to jack.newman@native.co.uk. So thank you all for joining. In this session, which is very exciting for us, we will attempt a world record VMS implementation. So it's almost a hackathon type session. I'm delighted to be joined by my dear colleague, Norma Sint. Norma, good afternoon. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Jack. Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Norma, obviously. I am solution architect at Nétive. I have been working for the company for a lot of years, more than 14, and I've done a lot of implementations during the past years. So I'm really excited to host this world record today.
Thank you very much, Norma. And you have developed the format and the scope for the session. Could you just talk our audience through what we're about to do and what they are going to see?
Yeah, sure. We've put it in a nice slide. What the teams have to do today. So this the slide is the world record is about creating a new customer in our implementation and in our multi-tenant environment. A new customer, and they have to put everything in there to make this work, to create an assignment in the end, a final assignment, so to say. And there are a few milestones I'm going to check during this contest, and those are in 3 milestones. If the customer data is complete, if the financial information and financial allocation is there, and of course we need a resource, a supplier, and MSP records. And I'm going to check if those are complete as well. So the teams, they have been prepped, and they had just a small amount of time to prepare. So yeah, that's
Perfect.
it.
That's great. Thank you very much, Norma. Should we bring on the teams? Team 1 is Leon and Willem Young. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Leon, could you very briefly tell me a little bit about yourself and how you plan to approach this session today?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Jack. I'm Leon, and together with my friend and colleague, Willem, we're going to nail this world record.
Very confident. It sounds like fighting talk. Let's see what Team 2 have to say about that. So we see Willem Young there. Team 2 is Mariella and Martin. Mariella, good afternoon. Could you very briefly tell me about yourself and how you plan to approach the session today?
Yeah, sure. Well, our team is the customer success team, consisting of myself, of course, and Martin. Well, we work together pretty regularly, so we're a well-oiled machine. And well, that's our strength, I guess. We divide and conquer. That's our strategy for today.
Amazing. So we've got 2 teams, lots of fighting talk, lots of pressure, and I guess all of the bragging rights across the business. So we wish you both teams good luck. Norma, now is probably a good time for us to ring the klaxon and get the teams kicked off.
Yes, it is. So I will keep track of what they're doing, and I will show you every now and then what their progress is. So I will come back to you in a couple of minutes, maybe already. But for now, I think it's time to get started. So let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And the clock has commenced. The teams are kicking off. Just while we let them get set up, Norma, we can relieve you of being on screen for a couple of moments. Please take a look at what the guys are doing and let us know if you see anything interesting. We will, of course, just come back to that, and we will, as we go through the session, we'll share with you, our audience, their screens, that you can see exactly how they operate within the system. Norma, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. So just while the teams are kicking that off, I wanted to introduce my colleague, Kieran Jones, here in the UK. Kieran, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, Jack. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you for the first time, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time since I saw you face to face, so it almost feels like I don't know you anymore.
Great. Could you just introduce yourself to
yeah, of course. So I'm Kieran Jones. I'm an implementation consultant for Nétive based in our UK team, along with Jack. We make up the entirety of the dedicated UK team right now, supported by everyone else over in Holland. I've been with Nétive coming up for 18 months now, and prior to that, in another role, I had around 10 years of experience of implementing, configuring, and managing various VMS timesheeting and payroll systems over a really sort of wide slice of the temporary and contingent workforce sector. So over the years, I've worked with most of the major players in the market. I've come across and solved all sorts of implementation challenges. And one of the most commonly faced challenges is, of course, the speed in which an implementation can be completed. So that's part of the reason we're taking on this challenge today.
Great, thank you, Kieran. And just a couple of questions then that I have for you based really on your experience and your role, because you kind of see all of this firsthand. We heard from Chris earlier today around the multi-tenancy of Nétive and the importance of that. What does that really mean in practice for our partners who are spinning up to new customers?
Well, in practice, multi-tenancy to me is the difference between a new client implementation taking 8 to 12 weeks, perhaps longer in some cases, depending on the scenario and the software, and being able to get a new customer implemented in pretty much lightning speed, which is what we're attempting to do here today, and thereby really setting yourself aside from the competition when it comes to agility and the time it takes to react to demand or scenarios or any current events. Multi-tenancy means that once you've completed your initial implementation of the system, that large piece of work is done and it doesn't ever have to be done again. So you can add new clients, an unlimited number of clients to that same environment time and time again, meaning that realistically, you're performing configuration for each new client rather than performing a full system implementation each time. This has all sorts of benefits in addition to just the speed, such as an enormous cost saving, because you're not having to pay a large implementation fee for each new program that you want to launch. It also allows you to achieve improved user experience as well. And by that, I say, let's use an example. So you're hosting 5 MSP programs with a central team looking after them all. If this was configured in single tenant software, each member of that team would then have 5 usernames, 5 logins, and they'd spend a huge chunk of their time logging in and logging out, or having multiple different windows open and like balancing a lot of plates basically and trying to juggle their way around what they're doing. Using multi-tenancy, each of those team members can have one single login. You can give them access to one of those programs, to all 5 programs. You can do whatever you want, and you can have everybody's just sat in one window, in one system. That sort of benefit spans not only your own internal MSP team, but your suppliers. They may be working on several different programs of yours. Your workers as well may be working in assignments that are for multiple different clients or even multiple different suppliers. In all of these cases, your users are only going to have the one single login to remember, the one window to work in one place. So that's a number of the, but certainly not all of the, but some of the benefits of having a multi-tenant system in place. All the while, of course, the system is ensuring that all of your data is entirely secure. It can only be accessed by parties who have the rights to access that particular data. And that there's multiple other ways in which multi-tenancy allows efficiency and saves time and work when you're implementing new clients after that initial implementation has been completed.
Yeah, and it's a good segue, I guess, just to talk around that initial implementation. So in the first instance, we obviously put in place the multi-tenant environment for our partners. What does that process look like? What's the typical time frame for that first piece?
So that very first implementation, so that's the commissioning of the system itself. It's bringing the entire environment together. That takes around 8 weeks on average. It's obviously a one-time thing. We just do it the once, and then you can continue after that without us or without that level of support. During those weeks, there's all sorts of activity taking place. The provisioning of the environment, as I mentioned, the build and commissioning of the system by us, but also a collaboration approach between us, the MSP partner, and in some cases the launching client as well. Now, this collaboration includes design of the workflows, which we will design together to ensure that they fit that first customer and that first scenario, ensuring they operate in exactly the way that you need them to. Unlike with some other systems or some other providers, these workflows can be developed using a co-design approach. What that means in reality is, I suppose these days it's a call, an online call, but hopefully again in the future this will be a face-to-face process where we can get together, we can visually look at these workflows together, we can tweak them, we can edit them, we can get the exact workflow you want right there and then, and immediately push that into a safe testing environment where you can straight away start using that, getting it running it through testing, make sure it all works the way you want, and making any further tweaks and changes you might want. What we've seen elsewhere is that can go off into a sort of development cycle. It can take weeks, sometimes longer, to get that into place. And whereas we make those changes together with you, and we can push those out in real time and really reactively get any changes like that made into the system.
Amazing, Kieran. Thank you so much. And I guess it just culminates with multi-tenancy, meaning bigger, faster, stronger, better, right?
Absolutely.
We'll come back to you in a moment, Kieran. Take a moment, catch your breath, and we'll come back to you. Norma, how are our teams getting on? I can see on the screen at the moment, Leon is working in an assignment. How are the teams getting on?
Yeah, the teams are going really, really fast. So I was just about to tell you that I wanted to update you on both the teams. So I prepared where they were at this moment, but this is already old news because I saw there has been an assignment created, and that has been done by the team of Leon, if I am correct. So are we able to switch to Leon to check on his progress and if it's true that there is an assignment created?
Yeah, you're correct, Norma. We've got a final assignment, so it's ready. We created a new customer, the new organization details, processes, etc. Ended an assignment, and it's ready for the temp to log in and log timesheets.
Very well. Let me.
Wow.
Let me check this. Well, I think we can. I think we can stop the clock. Then I will check on your on the created assignment if I can see it in the environment we are using for this. If I can see it appearing, and I do see a final assignment, and it's this one of resource John Bailey. So you created a customer named Broadstone. You created
Yes.
a role category, and you created the department, of course, a timesheet approver. And this is all connected to an MSP because somebody needs to service all the services which come with handling assignments for a customer in this multi-tenant org. The cost center is consulting. There is time entry possible, and this is the rate table. So there was an initial rate of €225, and it's negotiated by the by the MSP into 35 euros, which is a very good negotiation. We have an assignment value, and the digital file is created, and that's not it's not ready yet. So time entry is still disabled, but the assignment itself is final. So you actually won the contest, Leon and Willem-Jan.
Yes.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah, Leon, Willem-Jan, well done. We booked the session for 30 minutes. Had we have known that we only needed 8, we probably could have trimmed the session down a little bit. So well done to you both. Mariella, how are you guys getting on? How far did you get?
Well, we're sick to the stomach, of course, because we wanted to win. But we also were able to create a final assignment just, well, I believe 1 or 2 minutes after Leon and Willem-Jan. So congratulations. But we're super sad, of course.
Well, as we all know, there are no losers in this game. The VMS industry is the real winner. So
Sure.
Thank you all for attending and getting stuck in on that. Norma, maybe just take a couple of moments to just validate the work that Leon and Willem-Jan have done there. I trust them inherently, but as a ruthless judge, let's just double check and triple check. And just while we're doing that, I'm going to have another chat with Kieran. So if we can bring Kieran back in. What we have kind of just seen here for the teams is a multi-tenant environment already being in place, and then really the configuration of building in a new customer and a new tenant. So to just recap on what we've seen the teams do there, Kieran, could you just give us a couple of points around what that additional implementation has looked like?
I can, now that I'm back. Yeah, so for me, this is where the beauty of multi-tenancy really comes into play. With the environment already implemented and operational, the power and the control is in your hands. And by that, I mean the hands of your system administrator, not native. You can set the new client up yourself. You can add all of the client master data yourself, the users, the assignments, the suppliers, pretty much everything. If your new client needs some new workflows that you don't already have in your environment, you're only a phone call away. That's something that can be picked up and developed really, really quickly. Our consultants can co-design the new workflows with you in the blink of an eye, push them out for test. If the workflows already exist and you want to reuse them, you don't even need to do that. You can just reuse the same workflows you use on program 1, program 2, etc. again and again, and they can be configured. The customers themselves can be configured in different ways to fit your current scenario. So we like to call that customization by configuration. So it's not developing the system to do something else. It's just configuring it in a different way to suit whatever your needs might be.
Yeah.
Of course, how quickly you can do this, or how much additional support you may need, it does all come down to your experience of the system and your confidence, which is why we offer comprehensive support options that will not only help you along the way, but will help you to build that confidence and that experience. So perhaps in implementation number 2, you might lean on us quite heavily. And number 3, we'd expect to see that a bit smaller. Number 4, and it goes on and on and on to the point that you're basically completely self-sufficient, and you're just knocking these implementations out day by day by day, because you're essentially a system guru that can just do whatever they need to do in whatever speed they need to. And I think a really, really good example of that is an example from last year in a reaction to the pandemic and the lockdowns and so on that we had. We had a partner in the Netherlands who were reacting to a demand for a COVID-related implementation, and that went from concept to being operational in 5 working days, and that included all the data gathering, all of the setup. It really is possible.
Yeah. And obviously we're experts in the tool, Kieran, or certainly you are. I may not be, but you certainly are. You know, what everybody has just kind of watched is us creating, configuring our own system. If we take that approach and kind of take the seat of an MSP of one of our partners, what level of independence or self-sufficiency can they expect going forward as their maturity increases?
Well, I think the easiest way of answering that is one of the, we didn't have every last rule up on the screen when we set this out, but the logins that our contestants were using today, that was the type of login that our partners have. It wasn't a super user, it wasn't native only access. That is using the exact same type of logins that our end users have. So that probably spells out what can be achieved with that type of login. Everything they have just done is fully achievable by one of our end users, one of our end administrators.
Amazing. Well, look, Kieran, thank you. And I think just to summarize that, we've spoken around today the power of multi-tenancy, and for our partners, the ability thereafter to service multiple customers. What we've kind of demonstrated here is really a level of self-sufficiency in the tool. So supporting partners to then scale out to new tenants, doing so really in quite a pain-free basis. Kieran, your experience of that in kind of your past, has it always been that easy?
I'm going to choose my words carefully here. Because as I mentioned, I have worked with most, not all, but most of the major players over the years. And I've had some very, very painful implementations over those years. I've also had some very easy ones. I've had cases where a 12-week implementation turned into 30, 32 weeks due to lots of many different factors, some of those being the system, some being the client, and so on and so on. But back in, I think it was 2016, I was introduced to Native for the first time. And I would say this, I work for Native now, but I never look back. It was by far the easiest to set up, the quickest, and probably the one that gives you the ultimate amount of control over the system. There's obviously a level of control you get as a system admin in any one of these systems, but the pure configurability and the ability to set things up in the way you want to, in the speed that you want to, is just, in my mind, it's unparalleled.
Kieran, thank you so much for joining the session. I'm going to make a tactical substitution. Can I swap Kieran out for Norma, please? Hey, Norma, you've gone through final verifications. How did the teams get on? Can't hear you at the moment, unfortunately, Norma.
I am unmuted now. That's better. The teams really did a very good job, both of them, I have to say. But there can only be one winner. And the team of Leon and Willem-Jan, they really were a bit faster. The final time I've clocked is 7:15. And I checked everything which needed to be done. And it's done. So I can congratulate them on being the winner.
Yes.
So cheers and applause.
Well done, guys. Yeah, very well done, Leon, Willem-Jan. Really impressive. I think that demonstrates to our customers the ability that they have to utilize our system to do things very quickly and to remain agile and nimble. Mariella, Martin, unfortunately today wasn't your day. Tomorrow it may be, but as I mentioned, there's no losers in this game. We're all winners. So later today, you will all receive a bottle of champagne from the company just to thank you. We would appreciate a picture of you with your champagne before and after, if possible. That would be great. So I want to thank you all for being really, really great contestants today. Kieran, Norma, I want to thank you both for joining in as well. Kieran, for sharing your thoughts. Norma, for being a great judge. And for supporting the process and the scope of the session. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all to our audience as well. What we will have coming up next at 3 p.m. is our executive roundtable. So as I mentioned, we will share with you some of the thoughts, opinions and challenges of some of the leaders across our industry. We have a pub quiz at 4:30 p.m. and we'll celebrate with a drink. So please feel free to join those sessions. If you have any other questions around implementations, around multi-tenancy, or anything else that you've seen today, then please feel free to drop me an email, jack.newman@native.co.uk, or please feel free to visit our website, connect with us on LinkedIn, and also subscribe to our newsletter. We hope that you enjoyed the session. We hope it was useful, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.